So we know that the agape love is the love that we have to have to endure love
For a lifetime.
for a lifetime.
That's right.
But let's just talk a little bit. So the philo love is a love of friendship. And a lot of us have no issues today with having a philo love, having a lot of friends, being kind to our friends. And marriage even requires the philo love, being
Yeah, and
kind to my husband.
you want to have that
Absolutely.
love. You want to have friends, and that's very important.
Well,
But one of the termed loves, storge, often puts us into a situation where the love of family is greater than the love of our spouse or our immediate family, our spouse and our children. Storge is something you grew up with. You know, a lot of people get married, but they never leave. They never uncleave. And I think we should just touch base because it's important that the storge love not be replaced, or sorry, that storge love does not replace the agape love. That storge love is something that parents have for their children. They will always have. They always love you. Doesn't matter what you do or what they do. They will always love you.
Yeah, and a lot of us, we call that unconditional love. And yet, I think in some ways we actually are lying to ourselves because we
For
do
sure.
set conditions on that. You know, if people don't treat me right, well, then I
That's right.
separate myself. Whereas God always treats us right. And that's the kind of love that we're supposed to have, that we always just do what's right, even when the circumstance we're in isn't always
That's right. So storge love should never be a replacing love for agape.
right.
And, you know,
But it's very important that we understand that storge love is vital to have in our life as well. We love our parents and we know our parents love us, but parents have to be reminded that sometimes we have to step back. And sometimes we as a married couple even have to remind our parents to step back. It's not their job to offer us opinions or even ourselves now that we're parents of a newly married couple. So parents, we don't have to offer opinions or advice without being asked.
And, you know, your
like
opinion really...
You even used to say, Lewis, and be careful even when you're asked. They might not want your opinion.
That's right. Your opinion is not necessarily valid or warranted unless it's asked for.
Well, what happens is that if we do it so undermines the development of the leadership and self-determination of the couple.
Yeah.
The husband has to take his role and the wife has her role to take. And when parents are like sticking their nose in it, they get a confusion in there. So they are responsible for making their own decisions and we have to allow them. And we even had to do that with our parents. Sometimes, you know, our parents maybe came from a different generation. I don't think they did stick their nose in so much.
Yeah.
But we grew up with, you know, you make your bed, you sleep in it. But part of our new generation, we want to help our kids so much. We have to be careful that we're not.
Yeah, some of us must protect. You must protect your marriage by letting your parents know the boundaries and that you love them, but it's time to be on your own. Remember, this also means taking responsibility where you need to.
Yeah, because a lot of times we say, oh, I don't need any advice from you, but then as soon as there's a crisis, now you want help.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's okay to ask for the help before you hit the crisis so that there's not a big issue.
Yeah.
You know, another thing we want to talk about too is the Eros love, because, you know, that's an important part of loving your marriage as well. You know, when you're dating, especially, you know, ladies, well, I think men too, maybe everybody needs this teaching. But, you know, we fix ourselves up and we present ourselves in a glamorous way. And I know the men are trying to be as handsome as they can. And we put on our best. And then sometimes after you've been together for a while, you start letting your guard down. And perhaps, I'm not talking about a bunch of makeup. I'm just talking about just even how you present yourself to your spouse and how you act when you're with each other. Because when we met our spouse, I'm sure we were on our best behavior and attractive in every way that we could be. So too often we start taking each other for granted, and then there becomes a little bit of resentment or differences that we're not really happy about. Your marriage should be like a constant courtship. And if you do that, you will really be in a good place. I know that for Lewis and I love to see Lewis dressed up and vice versa.
Yeah.
And so we try really hard to present ourselves to each other, and we enjoy it because I enjoy when he looks good for me too. So
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things you have to understand, like I say, you'll go through situations, circumstances in your life where, maybe your wife isn't, the love of your life. You're going through turmoil. You're going through different things. That agape love is going to
Kick in there.
keep you. It's going to keep you forever.
Mm-hmm.
When I got an understanding of that my wife is married to me for life, it took a lot of pressure off me because she's married to me for life, so then I could get on understanding what I needed to do to enrich our marriage, to grow our marriage, to grow our relationship. I don't have to worry about her giving me an ultimatum. You either do this or I'm not going to do that. You can't do that, friends. That's something, often we'll do that and people will pick the ultimatum. And then you're left with, we say
what you didn't really want.
you don't really want it. You're making ultimatums, or you're making decisions based on anger or circumstances, situation. Again, agape love is going to keep you through. It's going to take you through.
I think we have to remember, Lewis, is that we don't want to wait till somebody else gives our spouse the attention or draws your husband away from you. Where they want to be at their work rather than they want to be in their home. We don't want to get to that point. So what do you do to not get to that point is you make sure that you don't get there. And a husband's top priority is to protect his wife, and a wife's is her husband. And so often we forget that. When I understood that Lewis was to be the head of the house, and I got the revelation of what the head meant, it was actually really freeing for me because I really didn't want that role.
Yeah.
We had it displayed to us once at a church, and the pastor called a man and a woman and a child up to the front. And he told the man to lay down, and then the woman got on top of him, and then the child got on top of the woman. And it was such a revelation for me of just how important the head is. The head has to hold, he's the foundation for everybody. And could you imagine if I was on the bottom and holding Lewis and our son up?
Yeah, a husband's top priority is to protect his wife, and a wife's top priority is protect her husband. Together they're committed to protecting each other, preserving the marriage, and cultivating the companionship.
Yeah, and this really can only happen when you understand how to love and what love is.
Mm-hmm.